The first thing that really blew me away was the detail in the curriculum. Over 48 weeks, you don't feel like you're overloaded with information. So week by week, over an 8-week period, you're kind of brought through, as I say, with great support from HQ. So you don't have to come from a coaching background necessarily. You just have to have a passion for, giving back to kids, helping them, grow just in terms of mentally, confidence-wise, physically. If you have a passion for that.
Welcome back to The First 7 Years, the podcast where we explore how the early years shape confidence, movement, and a lifelong love for moving. In today's episode, it's a little bit different. We're sitting down with one of the newest and the first Footy Nippers franchise owners in Vic Ball. Vic, can you tell us a bit about yourself, where you're based, and a bit about your territory?
Yeah, kia ora, Jimmy. Good to be on. Thanks for having me, mate. And very proud to be on here as the first Footy Nippers franchise owner here in South Dublin. So I'm really excited about this journey, mate, and helping give back to our kids in the area.
Yeah, amazing. I think as meeting you over the last few years and then understanding your love for coaching and for giving back, especially to the sport that gave you so much, it's exciting to have you involved. So with that, I'd like to dive a bit deeper into your background, a bit about you, where you're from, how you're now all of a sudden based in Ireland being a Kiwi.
Yeah, mate. Look, I've no problem saying that I'm not a has-been, I'm a never was, so I certainly don't get invited onto podcasts too often. So like I say, delighted to make my debut, so to speak, on this platform, as you say, as the first ever Footy Nippers franchise owner. But for me, proud Māori, proud Kiwi, Auckland born and bred, Ngāti tū wharetoa tōku iwi. So my Māori roots are actually Tūrangi, which is on the eastern shores of Lake Taupo. But for me, growing up in school was all about sport. Geez, we'd have a go at everything, but rugby and cricket were the main ones for me through school, and I was absolutely obsessed with them. And then after school, rugby kind of took over, and I was really fortunate. I found myself Auckland rep teams are more a byproduct, I think, of some of the great club sides I was a part of, more than my talent. But found myself in these teams where I met some lifelong friends through that, many of which went on to represent, the All Blacks, played Tonga, Samoa, international rugby. So that was pretty cool. I think, if I'm honest, my behaviours probably weren't conducive to that of an aspiring professional athlete. So for me, the All Black dream was probably beyond my reach, but I was really fortunate to pick up an opportunity through rugby to come over to Europe here and played 15 years of rugby over here. And after that, transitioned into coaching. So I think that was 12 years ago. I think 7 of those 12 years I've been coaching full time, which is a blessing. That the old saying, do what you love, you never work a day in your life. But the reality also with coaching is the job security isn't the greatest. I mean, you're judged on results, you're judged on performance, and one poor season, you could be out the back door, So I suppose that's where Footy Nippers comes in. I love what I do, but the opportunity through Footy Nippers to maybe bring a bit more security on those fronts is something that I'm really excited about. Yeah, really excited, as I say, about Footy Nippers and this next kind of journey. So absolutely pumped for it.
Mate, we're so stoked to have you on board. And one of the big things is your passion's there. You've been coaching for a while. The people out there, what do you love about coaching kids? What do you get from that?
Mate, for me, whether it's kids and I coach in a school and head coach of a club, what I love is bringing people together on the same page, rowing in the same direction for a common goal. I think that's something really special. I suppose in rugby terms, that's culture as well. Rugby in many ways for me is the easy part when it comes to coaching. It's the hard part where the magic lies. And I think where my strengths are is creating that culture and bringing people together and connected and like I say, working towards a common goal. Obviously, that doesn't guarantee you success, but if you do achieve it, it makes it all the more special because you've kind of been on that journey together. And it's all built on the foundations of the usual values rugby brings, the values of discipline, hard work, respect, turning up for your mate, going to dark places in terms of pre-seasons and things like that, where you build that resilience. I think that's what I really love. And like I say, if you are lucky enough to achieve any success in it, it just makes it all the more sweeter. So I think for me, that's the part I love about coaching. And I've been lucky enough to experience, winning things as a player and to be able to bring, young men, young kids on that journey to achieve the same is something I really enjoy and take a lot of satisfaction from, mate. So that's probably the thing I love the most about coaching. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. I mean, you gave me goosebumps kind of hearing that. I think your passion runs deep for it, which is so important. And it's so important for for getting involved in Footy Nippers as well. And I guess that leads me on to my next question, which is, how did you come across Footy Nippers?
I come across Footy Nippers. I also coach with Haka Rugby Global, where the founder of that is Troy Nathan, who's the Footy Nippers founder as well, along with yourself. So come across it that way. Obviously looked into it a bit more, and when I dug deeper, I could see the opportunity, the amount of detail that goes into not only the curriculum, but also the amount of support you get as a franchise owner from it's unreal. And when I looked more into it, I realized it was an opportunity that I'd be silly to pass up. So yeah, through working with Haka Rugby Global, I came across it. And as I say, the more I looked into it, the more I realized that there was something I absolutely had to do.
Yeah, awesome. And I think one of the big things we've been really, really hot on is we are a digital first brand. So we want to be attractive to not only parents in this day and age. You have young kids, they live on their phones, they understand it, but also to potential owners out there. People a lot of the time with new franchise brands is they'll go and research you. They'll look at your podcast, your content, your YouTube. So was it any of that you discovered as well?
Big time, yeah. Obviously, Footy Nippers is very active on all the social channels, and obviously you have a podcast running up and running for a number of weeks now, and I think that just adds credibility to the whole thing. So anyone coming in, seeing Footy Nippers for the first time, they see those podcasts, what we're about. As I say, just adds that credibility to it, and obviously, they're able to gain more information through that. So I think that's really important, knowing that what we're doing is not it's not half-assed, it's done properly. And as I say, the level of support behind it is just unreal. So I think that's a huge positive. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And I mean, yeah, I know you've said a few things there, but was there one thing in particular that really stood out? Like, you can think about your background, your coaching. Like, were you motivated by the money opportunity? Were you motivated by the curriculum? What is the one thing for you that really stood out?
I think as a first impression, when I seen the curriculum and the amount of detail in that, that really blew me away. I'm sure we'll go into it a bit more as we go, but that was the first thing that really blew me away, was the detail in the curriculum over 48 weeks. And then after that, it's just, again, the level of support. So as a franchise owner, you come in, you have an onboarding process, and you're literally brought through each stage systematically. So you're not moving on to, you can only move on to the next stage of that once you've done the first kind of steps. So from that point of view, you're not feeling overwhelmed. You don't feel like you're overloaded with information. So week by week, over an 8-week period, you're kind of brought through, as I say, with great support from HQ. So I think, that's a massive plus. And as an owner, it puts you at ease, right? You're not feeling like you're overwhelmed. So, and you have great support behind you, which is so important. So
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome to hear. And one of the big things around franchising is the support, right? What are the systems that are in place to help you be successful? And nothing makes us happier than seeing you thrive for Troy and I, especially as the Footy Nippers are the first founder, first franchisee that's come on board. But one of the big things here is we're here to support in each of our unique lanes. So yes, we will always be here to help. But for me, it's very much about strategy. It's about your marketing. It's about setting up your company and also the technology. But then you get someone like Troy, who's this reputable youth rugby coach globally, has the biggest rugby academy, coached in 35 countries. There's no better person to learn off. So, being able to catch up with him, dive into how he does things, there was probably a lot of learnings for you as well. And I'd say he learnt from you also.
yeah, you said it there, like including in that onboarding is, you're setting up company process, your accounting, the support you get from marketing. It's unreal. And then you talk about credibility as well with Troy and his experience. You only have to look at Haka Rugby Global, what they've done over the last 11 years just adds more weight to that credibility. And clearly Troy is someone who has a huge passion for working with youth, getting our kids moving. And the proof is in the pudding. You only have to look at what he's done. And I suppose the target age range now is that level below Haka, and getting our kids moving even younger, so it's what we're about.
Absolutely. If you build the foundation early on, the chance of them being active into their teens and adulthood drastically increases. And that is the opportunity that Troy and I saw when we started this journey, some 12 months ago. So, to be here now and really learn and gather feedback and always iterate based on what we're doing, it's been super exciting. And look, I think now bringing it back to you. So You are the proud owner of the South Dublin franchise. You have your first venue and your first
Yep.
class launching on the 3rd of May. So can you tell us a bit about the venue, the classes you're operating, just so that the audience can understand how the first one goes?
Yeah, mate, it's really exciting. So our first venue is in Wesley College here in South Dublin, and we have our coaches locked in. Had some really good days with them in terms of training and education around the curriculum and how it's delivered. It's a class, brilliant facility. So yeah, we're launching on the 3rd of May. Historic kind of week last week where our bookings and enrollment links went out live on socials. Delighted to see those classes filling up now, and it's all become very real, but we're more than confident that we're ready to go. And it's been an exciting journey so far, but it's only the beginning. So yeah, 3rd of May we launch our first session, and more history created. So just super excited, mate, and ready to go for it. Can't wait.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. And okay, so kind of getting towards the end of the conversation, but let's direct it at a parent. What can a parent expect when they bring a child to one of your sessions that you're
Yeah,
coaching?
I think first and foremost, a safe space. That's obviously important. Warm welcomes, smiles, loads of high fives, and coaches, and where the passion is kind of evident through how they carry themselves, connecting with the kids at their level, and obviously just fun movement curriculums based all around Māori storytelling and folklore. So it's so engaging, and you can just see that in the kids when we ran our pilot there a few weeks ago. How engaging those stories can be for them. So lots of fun, lots of movement, and lots of connection, and also an education piece around the culture side of it through the storytelling. And I suppose I'm a parent myself, and you can be so busy during the week, life gets in the way. I think they can also expect 45 minutes of just one-to-one connection with their child, which can easily be so hard to get when you're in the hustle and bustle of a week. So I think from a parent's point of view, just having no phones, connection, and just having that one-on-one time with the kids is not only beneficial for the child, but also the mums and dads. So I think that's also a really special part of what we do, is that parent interaction and having them spend that quality time with their kids. So I think, massively important as well.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, look, all you have to do is look at what happens when a child takes a sport field and they do something good. Who do they turn around and look at? They look at the
100%.
parent. So, I mean, that's forging and bringing that bond up from a young age. I think it's so important. And I mean, I've got a young kid of my own now. He's not quite at Footy Nippers level, but he'll be going. I'd be
Welcome to the
sending him.
club, mate. Welcome to the club.
No, exactly. Good to be in the club. I'll say that first 8 weeks were very sleepless, but I'm happy to be
Yeah.
here and be there as well. So, look, I think, like I said, we're so excited to have you involved. My last question that I'm going to put towards you is, what is the message that you would have for anyone out there who's thinking about joining Footy Nippers? They've seen the content, they're watching this podcast or reading the article. What could you say to them about joining Footy Nippers and why the opportunity would be right?
Man, if you're a coach or you work with children, obviously you have a passion for working in that space. I think that's a great opportunity for them. Retired athletes, there's an opportunity post-playing career to go into something like this would be brilliant for them as well. But just anyone who has a passion for giving back to kids at any level, someone who's looking for a change of career, you don't have to come from a coaching background necessarily. You just have to have a passion for, giving back to kids, helping them, grow just in terms of mentally, confidence-wise, physically. If you have a passion for that, I think it's brilliant. Also, if you want to get time back, because we're all so busy, there's an opportunity with this that it won't be necessarily all encompassing and taking your time up. And we spoke about connection with our kids earlier. I think getting that valuable family time back is also something that Footy Nippers could offer. Like anything, you get out what you put in, and there's obviously a bit of work there involved, but just that freedom of time could be something that's on the table with this as well, So you don't necessarily have to be a coach, don't necessarily have to be a former athlete or anything like that, but you just have to have a passion for helping kids grow and grow in confidence and experience all the benefits that we did through sport and movement. The benefits of mental health, physical health, confidence, cognitive development. There's studies out there about all of this, about child obesity, screen time. So this is something we're passionate about. And for anyone who shares that same sort of passion, I think it's a great opportunity. And as I said, there's just great support from HQ, and you're brought along the whole way. And I think it's just an amazing opportunity. Can't wait to get going on the 3rd.
That's and I just what you said there, screen time, kids sitting, for parents as well, like they see this and it's becoming more prominent, it's not going away, it's getting worse. So providing those alternatives to parents to go, hey,
Yeah.
this is where we're going to build that confidence and a lifelong
Yeah.
love for movement. So I mean, yeah, I absolutely have loved talking to you. We're very lucky, Troy and I, and the founding team and the Footy Nippers team, to have you on board as our first franchisee. And we're so excited to see where we're going to take this together as we scale and grow, not only in Ireland, but across different countries. I know we're looking right now, we've got one setting up in New Zealand, one being set up in Australia, and we've got a multitude of inquiries from within England, within Italy, Spain. They seem to be coming left, right, and centre now. So, look, is there anything else you want to add before we go, mate? Or I'm just ready to kick into gear.
Mate, just thanks for having me on. Good to chew the fat, and grateful to yourself and Troy for I see the amount of work that goes in the background, and the level of support the franchise owners get is second to none. So grateful to you and the bro, and just so excited about this journey, mate, and can't wait to get going. So appreciate you having me on, bro.
Anytime, Vic, anytime. Now, I believe you're in the morning, I'm in the evening. So
Yep.
I'll say have a
Past the
great day.
bedtime. You're going to turn into a pumpkin soon?
I might have a little cup of tea before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Awesome, Vic. Thanks, bro. And look, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll chat soon.
Appreciate it, Jim.
See ya. Bye.